Ben McKee and Patrick Brown here on campus with our Vols 24/7 No-Huddle. First day we have not been able to watch any practice. I believe today is day 11. If I'm not mistaken, it was the first day we were not able to watch practice. But after practice, we spoke with Kelsey Pope, Tennessee's receivers coach, and Tennessee's first-year special teams coordinator, Evan Crabtree. Got to speak to 4 different specialists, spoke to Mike Matthews, and we'll lead off with the receivers since that has been the big talking point.
You're a special teams hater. That's why.
I love special teams, but people listening want to know more about the receivers than the special teams, if I'm being honest. What stood out to you from speaking to Kelsey Pope?
We'll start with a health update. He said that Chris Brazzell did maybe more today than he has done. Still has a long way to go in sort of getting his body back to playing shape. So we'll have to see how that goes here. What are we, 2 weeks? 2 weeks and a couple days out from the opener. Did sound like Braylon Staley did a little bit more today, so that's a good step for him. But probably the biggest takeaways, some questions about who's going to play in the slot. There is some talk that Mike Matthews can play all the positions. We'll have to see if that's going to be the case. But that's probably one of the big takeaways. And just, I think Kelsey likes this room. He likes sort of the drive that some of these freshmen have. He talked about Rodarius Jackson and Travis Smith being like tangibly and visibly better from the spring, and showing them that, and sort of how he goes about building up these guys and getting them ready to play as first-year players. Because obviously Tennessee is, had some, outside of Brew McCoy coming in here a couple of years ago and really hitting the ground running, some of their first-year guys, whether it be transfers or freshmen, either haven't made a big impact or have been a little up and down. So I think that's obviously a big task for this group. So I think he likes this room. And talking to Mike Matthews, he said, we're hungry. We don't mind being doubted. It fuels us a little bit more. So I think this receiver group has a good work ethic. They have some guys that are hungry and ready to show what they can do. We just got to see what it's going to look like on Saturdays.
Yeah, and the special teams bunch is a very confident bunch as well. We got to speak to Josh Turbyville, the kickoff specialist. We talked to Jackson Ross, the punter, Max Gilbert, the kicker, and Bennett Brady, the long snapper. Another confident group.
Yeah, all those guys are back. I mean, Jackson Ross will be his 3rd year as punter. We saw Max Gilbert step into the kicking role last year. Had the blip against Kentucky, but came back strong. Had a really good year. And then Josh Turbyville is sort of the kickoff guy. He said his goal is to always put it in the stands. He's only done it once, but that's what he's trying to do every time. He's sort of the secondary guy. I know, what would happen if one of those guys pulled a hamstring in warm-ups or something like that. They're not going to have to go get a kicker off the frat couch like the Derek Dooley days. They just have Josh Turbyville. He can punt. He can't punt with both feet. He said that that's obviously a very unique skill for Jackson Ross, but he can punt. He can do field goals. So, and then Bennett Brady has sort of waited his turn. He comes from the same high school as Morgan Cox, who is veteran NFL long snapper, snapped here at Tennessee, and then had a decade with the Ravens and has been with the Titans now for the last at least 5 or 6 years. So same high school, knows there's a connection there. He's kind of always wanted to be a long snapper and has waited his turn behind Matthew Solansky. And he said he's fine if nobody knows who he is, because the only time people know who long snappers are if they mess up. So Tennessee should feel good about not only those specialists, but also their special teams group as a whole. We'll have to see how the return game shakes out. Evan Crabtree says they have a lot of guys that are vying there. Obviously, what's going on with Drew Carter, how involved is he even going to be with the return game, given his missteps that he's done and how he's sort of put himself in the situation he has. But they've got some guys there that are athletic and can make impacts on the game, and that's been a big key to Tennessee's success. They've had guys like Boo, Valus Jones, D. Williams here under Josh Heupel, so they need to find some of those guys this year that can be impactful in the return game.
Tomorrow will be Tennessee's second and final scrimmage of fall camp, and it's a very important one, especially for the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I would think coming out of the second preseason scrimmage, you pretty much want to know who your guy is. And I think at this point it would be a surprise if it's not Joey Aguilar. I think it's been trending that way for at least a week now, certainly going into the first scrimmage and coming out of it. And so you want to see him continue to be better than he was in the first scrimmage. That would be a positive step for him, and also perhaps maybe more clarity for the coaching staff of this offense. And then what do they do at center, some other positions? They need some receivers to come out and make plays, maybe a little bit more than they did in the first scrimmage a week ago. So a lot of questions to answer, but certainly it's getting to a key point of camp and kind of the end of camp, right? The second scrimmage is sort of, that's when they go into a mock game week next week, so they won't be in full camp mode, and it's kind of an in-between between camp mode and then full-on game week, with the scout teams and all that. So not that we'll see any of it. Practice is closed until at least December, but it's tomorrow's a big day, and then they'll be 2 weeks out.
Yep, we'll have plenty of coverage of it all at GoVols247.com. Already have a ton of coverage from this week's 3rd week of fall camp, and then of course of the Adidas deal that took place yesterday, or finally took place yesterday. Mike Matthews said he loved it because they're going to prioritize and take care of Tennessee in a big way. So we've got all that coverage up at the side, and we will speak to Josh Heupel following tomorrow's scrimmage, and we'll certainly have plenty of Tennessee football coverage throughout the weekend, and who knows, maybe a surprise happens here or there. He's Patrick Brown, and Ben McKee.